Sup everyone, Darkscream217 here, and I do plan on getting my next 3 anime reviews finished as soon as I can. But for now, I want to do a quick little manga review because of 2 reasons. 1, I haven't done a manga review in a long time, and 2, I actually find myself reading and enjoying manga more than watching anime because... well, that's another rant or rants for another day. Anyways, the manga I'm reviewing is Gunsmith Cats, and it's only 4 volumes of the revised edition, which are, by the way, they're pretty big too. There's as big as 2 volumes, a volume and a half. They're pretty big, man. See? Anyway, I am familiar with the sequel, Gunsmith Cats Burst, but since I haven't read it, I'm not going to touch on that series. I'm going to refer to the original manga run in the 90s. Gunsmith Cats is an action crime fighting series written and illustrated by Kenichi Sonoda, who's known for his art and character designs on Otaku no Video, the original Bubblegum Crisis, and the Gale Force series. The story revolves around Riley Vincent and Minnie May Hopkins, 2 bounty hunters from Chicago, Illinois, who also own a gun shop called Gunsmith Cats. Riley Vincent is the older bounty hunter who is a firearms expert, and Minnie May is the explosive expert of the duo. Riley's reasons for bounty hunting are revealed through a moment in her childhood, but that's all I'm going to say to avoid major spoilers. Now, both characters are pretty fun and likable, but Minnie May's backstory and her little antics and love interest did throw me for a loop. I'll give you one thing. She did spend a good chunk of her youth as a prostitute in Chinatown. The story and the entire feel of Gunsmith Cats, it's very Western in style. More Western than Cowboy Bebop, to be honest with you. It's almost as if Kenichi Sonoda actually went to Chicago, Illinois to study the environment and gather important information so he could put his artwork and make it feel like a good old American action series. Oh wait, I think he did. Personally, this is one of the reasons why I enjoy reading this manga a lot, as well as the characters themselves. Mostly when I'm interested in something I like, I'm more invoked in the characters than the overall story. In fact, why don't we talk about some other characters in this series? Well, first off, we have Riley's informant, Becky the Nose Farrer, who's able to provide a lot of background information on some of Riley's bounties and the know-hows on Chicago's underworld for a hefty fee. But then there's Misty Brown, a lockpick and infiltration expert who started off in the series as a criminal, but ended up befriending Riley and May later on in the series. However, this character really didn't interest me at all, because for an expert thief, she ends up playing a damsel in distress role most of the time. Especially in the first Goldie arc and the Misty's Run arc, she spent most of the time held in captivity. Then there's Ken Takizawa, Minnie May's mentor and lover, who's also a couple decades older than Minnie May. He's also an explosive expert, and he taught basically Minnie May everything she needs to know about bombs and explosives, etc., etc. Didn't really care about that character earlier on in the series, but later on when he got more and more involved in some of the later story arcs, I started to like him a little more. And of course, my absolute favorite of all the supporting characters, Bean Bandit, a courier who's also an expert in knife throwing, surviving, and being just an overall badass. He's an anti-hero character that gets involved in most of Riley's bounties, considering that they hire him to make a getaway from Riley and the Chicago police. As a result, while Riley and Bean do get on friendly terms later on in the series, they have somewhat of a competitive rivalry against each other, and there are times where Bean would actually help Riley out of tight situations as well. Now, for the weak points, character-wise, they actually come from the various antagonists in the series. Most of them are just run-of-the-mill drug dealers, bank robbers that are trying to pull off an extremely huge heist, certain mobsters, that kind of thing. They're not weak or jobbers. In fact, they provide a serious challenge for Riley in the game. It's just that regular criminals who basically do these kinds of crimes compared to the other various villains I've seen in previous anime and manga, they just don't come off as very interesting to me. Except for one character. Iron Goldie Musso, A crime boss and drug designer, she is one of the scariest, creepiest, menacing villains I've seen in a manga. She's a psychotic lesbian drug dealer that provides a hallucinogen called kerosene, which also acts as a hypnotic drug as well. Because of this, she actually provided herself a harem of sex slave females at one point, and she had a strong desire to make Rally her pet because of how she almost beat her in the first arc involving her. I already mentioned who did the artwork, and I don't need to tell you that Kenichi Sonoda is actually one of my favorite artists ever. I do love his character designs, which help complement the western feel of the series a little more, and the action sequences in the manga, which are mostly just gunfights and car chases and explosions. They're very easy to follow. I just like his artwork all around. So there you go, Gunsmith Cats. Definitely one of my favorite mangas, and I can't wait to see what Gunsmith Cats Burst has to offer as well. My recommendation goes out to manga fans that want a more authentic Western police bounty hunting series. It will also go out to fans of the 90s, fans of guns and cars, which, by the way, judging from all the firearms and all that, I'm not a big firearms expert, I can tell you that much. However, it does look like a person who's into guns would probably definitely be into this series, and will probably even end up liking the character Rally just even more because she's a firearms expert as well. And I would also recommend it to fans who have seen The Writing Being OVA, which I already reviewed. In fact, I'm going to make this review as a response to that one. And the 3-episode OVA adaptation of Gunsmith Cats that people saw, but they didn't really check out the manga yet. Be warned though, this manga is not for kiddies. The manga contains a lot of violence and fan service, which includes about nudity and some explicit sexual dialogue, mostly evolving from anime. And of course, it's pretty violent as well. And it does make the OVAs extremely tame in comparison. And that's who I would recommend it to. It's really, really good. I might even read the first 4 volumes a second time sometime in the future as well. Oh, and they also contain some mini chapters of the Writing Being comic book that Kenichi Sonoda was also working on. Unfortunately, in volume 4, he only had like 4 chapters and it looked unfinished. But it's a little interesting read nonetheless. Well, that's all I have to say about Gunsmith Cats. Leave a comment if you wish, and this is Darkscream217 signing out.